Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MXGP 2020 and it's round 15 of Palembang here in the GP of Indonesia. So without further ado, grids are ready and away we go. That's a decent start. We're in 4th position for the time being, getting really shoved wide here. Going to go really off to the side of the track, and carnage has already ensued in the beginning of this MXGP round 15. This is a terrible, terrible position for us to be in right now, as Clement de Sal, who was once our biggest championship threat, is now taking the Fox's whole shot. Is not actually one of the biggest threats we have now. We really need to focus on where Tim Geiser, Jeffrey Hurling's finish towards the end of this Grand Prix of Indonesia. But for the time being, we are recovering quite nicely, diving up the inside as many riders as we possibly can, as we now have Romain Febvre, the runner-up of the MXGP 2021 season that has just occurred. I honestly expected Febvre to take over at the front and take the victory, but unfortunately Jeffrey Hurling's beat him out. I guess fortunately, depending on which side of the fence you're on. I did really like Romain Febvre, so I did expect him to take the victory. I'm actually more of a Tim Geiser fan, but never mind, that is for another day. And right now in the video game format, not really a Tim Geiser fan, because he's ahead of us on track and we need to chase him down, as the rain has finally stopped here in today's race 1 of 2 and Grand Prix of Indonesia. I messed up my words a little bit there, as we see Tim Geiser in the distance there. Actually a couple of Honda riders from Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, Mitchell Evans, Tim Geiser even further ahead, and we now have a 2-battle scrap with the KTMs ahead of us. You've seen Boja's actually touching the rear of Sean Simpson, the former MXGP rider now, unfortunately, has decided to call it quits this season, as we now make a big jump, try and get into the right-hand side. Oh, I could tell with the landing I was trying to make was a little bit too ambitious. Unfortunately, that mistake has just cost us massively in this race so far. So now we're down to 14th place behind Henry Jacobi, as we've just gone off the track and not sure where we were going there. I think we're already on our way to round 16. I think we need to get back on the track and accept defeat on that one. So this is a concerning Grand Prix for us already. We had the disaster of last time's Grand Prix in Semarang. Very disappointing Grand Prix for us. Not a track I particularly like, and I've got to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the MXGP of Indonesia. Now, the fans are amazing people and the circuit itself looks beautiful. It's a beautiful venue, but I'm just not a fan of tracks that are rather flat. Give me undulation any days. Going high into the mountains and then down into the basement is what I prefer, but nonetheless it's still a good track. I like the sharp corners and the very tight apexes you have to make here, but for the majority of the track it's just not for me. As we now have 30 seconds remaining and 2 laps, we need to get a bit of a wriggle on right now. Try and chase down Alessandro Lupino, Glenn Colden there, and Henry Jacobi just a little bit further on. So I think best case scenario now in this difficult Grand Prix, difficult race 1, is going to be roughly around 15th position. Maybe we'll catch up to Arminas Yaskonis, but for the time being just on the rear of Glenn Coldenhoff and Alessandro Lupino. So onto the right hand side we will go, getting into this very awkward corner, going into the last lap, or at least the last timed lap, until we get into the final 2 laps of race 1 here in Indonesia. So onto the left hand side now, waiting for a moment of, oh, massive moment, absolute carnage, as we just lose the rear, just bringing on way too much acceleration. That is going to be a disaster of a first race here in the MXGP of Indonesia. That is absolutely awful. Rivals right now are smiling. We cannot feel the same way. This has been a devastating result already. In 2 back-to-back Grand Prix, it looks like we're going to have a very, very torrid time. Now, most of my career modes go like this when these 2 tracks are together. Just 2 difficult tracks that plague me so, and unfortunately, looks like it's going to be the reality in this championship as well. So I want to just give a very quick shout out to a buddy of mine, Antonio, and his colleague Yuri, for helping me get the high quality, full resolution logos of MXGP 2020 and MXGP 2021. Now, I've been using a makeshift one that I'd used myself, and it was very low quality, so at the start of the videos it did look a little bit low quality and a little bit blurry. Same can be said for the thumbnails, but thankfully to them I now have a high quality 4K resolution logo to use for my thumbnails and for the game. So I just want to say a massive thank you for that. I really appreciate you providing me with that, because it just makes the thumbnails and the beginning logo look so much better. But for the time being, we must get back to the Grand Prix, because we only have 2 laps remaining for us to improve on this torrid finish of 20th place. I cannot believe we're going to finish in this awful position once again. We are so far behind now that it's probably best to just skip to the next Grand Prix. Nobody would blame you for skipping to race 2, but I hope you don't, because of course I've still got a lot to say and you can still listen to my dulcet tones anyway, so why not stick around for another 2 laps. But now onto the right hand side as we make an absolute disastrous move there, and we've now lost another position for Guryev onto the left hand side there. This is just a bad job. Sometimes you just have to accept that it's a bad job and you're going to have to bounce back once again. But I tell you what, we're going to go to the next Grand Prix in a couple of days' time, and I'm going to absolutely tear it up, because this has been too many disappointments in a row, and we don't like disappointments on this channel. No, we certainly don't. So just prepare yourself for race 2 in a moment's time. I have a strong feeling that we're going to improve upon our disaster from race 1. Every single time we go across this lap and we go into this track, we're just getting better all the time. As I say that, we make another mistake and end up crashing. I'm beginning to wonder why I never bothered just restarting this one and starting again, but I guess I don't do that on this channel. I tend to leave things as they are and just appreciate what we've done is what we've done, because of course if I restart it, it's not very honest. So this is the reality we're in right now, but now's a great time to discuss it. 2 weeks time, or less than 2 weeks time, actually, as recording this video in advance of the actual launch time, but less than 2 weeks now. MXGP 2021 is right round the corner, the 30th of November. So close, yet still so far away. I'm going to be doing a lot of content for MXGP 2021, so I hope you guys will join me. If you are interested in seeing more DrAce content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because of course we've got loads of content coming from Ride 4, MotoGP 21, and of course, as mentioned, MXGP 2021. Now, of course, I haven't neglected, but I haven't forgot about Monster Energy Supercross 4 as well, so I will be bringing back that very, very soon. It's just that I'm in a very much MXGP mood right now, desperate to try and get this championship completed before the launch of MXGP 2021, because I very much doubt we're going to want to come back to MXGP 2020 after playing the new game. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I do hope the career mode has been improved. I hope the customization has also been improved as well, and I'm very keen to see what's going to happen. And shout out to David Duncan as well for being an MXGP fan, a super fan if you will, and a loyal fan of DrAce as well. He has watched pretty much every single MXGP video, Muddy Monday video, whatever it may be. So a big shout out to you as well, my friend. But for the time being, we've got only a couple more corners left, and then we're going to start race 2. And I think we desperately need to reset and get back into it, and hopefully I can improve. I've got a good feeling I'm going to improve, so it's all about down to this to improve and come back fighting and kicking ass. Let's see what happens. So the end of race 1, Jeffrey Erlings takes the victory, which is bad news for us. Tony Cairoli in 2nd and Clement Desal in 3rd place. So here we go then, waiting for the grids to drop from the last place on the grid. Deja vu almost, but we will not get pushed over to the right hand side. We're going to push them back and stay into the left hand side. You see all the riders pushed to the right there, getting really shoved wide as we get stuck on one of the Yamahas. It's our teammate actually, not ideal, as we're now getting behind Lupino, getting a little bit wide there. Teammate still pushing us back there. Michele Cavelli not having nothing of it as we go into the right hand side now, going for that wider line in 14th position. Come on, bring on the acceleration, bring it on, and let's get ahead of some of these riders getting stuck on the rear of the Australian Mitchell Evans, who will try and push him back, and now up into 13th place. That's a 7 grid improvement already as we now dive with the inside. Massive contact with Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Have a bit of that one, pal, as we now try and bring it in on the right hand side. There is actually, oh, massive moment, getting stuck on the rear of Thomas there, just on the left hand side. Now we've got a good chance now. We're going into 11th position. We still have plenty of time remaining, and this next part of the track is the difficult one, but as long as we stay with him, get into a bit of a slipstream, we might be able to dive up on the inside of 1 or 2 riders. So here we go on the right hand side. Nice little bit of a whip there, just to position the motorcycle exactly where we need to be. This Yamaha getting run ragged round the Palembang for the time being. So we dive on the inside of another Yamaha, and there is Brian Bose, I believe that was, who was giving us a big don't argue as we're now on the left hand side. Can we get past him? Not quite. He's still holding firm as we go onto the right hand side. Move out the way, for goodness sake. We just cannot get ahead of Boges as we'll try and go into the right hand side any moment now. Nice little bit of whip there once again, getting the confidence back here in the Palembang as we now go on the left hand side ahead of the Scotsman. He still hangs in there for the time being. This is a much better result for us so far. This is the sort of return to form that we needed in race 1 that never arrived, but now we have it in race 2, and it's come late, but it's not too little too late. We're still in a good position for a good result here. A top 10 finish for me is going to be absolutely fine and dandy. More points for us is the better. We can't afford to lose too many to Tim Geiser and the man who took the Fox's whole shot, Jeffrey Hurlings, of course. So now onto the right-hand side, going into this tabletop section. We're practically wheeling off the motorcycle there, almost wheeling off into oblivion. Shout out if you remember that from the Ride 4 live stream. But now onto the left-hand side, there's a good opportunity for us to get ahead of Sean Simpson. Now, seeing it coming, but it's not quite happened just yet. Now we try and get ahead of him, and now we have the runner-up of the MXGP 2021 season, Roman Febvre. And I'm yet to even mention that the rain is now beginning really heavy here, and this is actually good news for us. We do better in these wet conditions, and now we're up into 5th position. This is paying dividends. Maybe we just needed the rain to come a little bit earlier in the first race, and then we would have had a different situation entirely. God has blessed us when the heavens have opened, and now it's time to get back into these KTMs further ahead of us, Jorge Prado and Tony Cairoli. So 5th place with 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and now 2 laps remain here in this fantastic circuit of the Palembang. So now onto the right-hand side, nice and tight to the apex there. Didn't want to run it too wide and bring on the acceleration too abruptly. I have got the aggressive style of acceleration and braking as I just cut the corner there. A little bit of a mistake on my part. Too tight to the apex is a bad move sometimes here in MXGP, but a top 6 finish so far would still be okay with me. Michele Cavellin a little bit further ahead as we get on the right hand side, possibly get ahead of him, and we'll get back into the 5th position. Now, there is still a chance of a podium here. The gap to the lead positions of 1st and 2nd, yeah, that's out of the question. But with Jorge Prado and Tony Cairoli having a bit of infighting, gives us a little bit of hope to think that we might possibly still get on the podium. So let's see what we can do. We have a bit of a gap to the riders in 7th and 8th position, all battling it out. So as long as we stay where we are, keep the status quo, we should be alright for a decent position. But I really do want to see if I can get in the podium here in the Palembang. I've not said much positive things about this MXGP of Indonesia so far, and I would like to change my opinion with a podium here today. So let's see what can happen. So Cavellin ahead of us, and we have Tony Cairoli, so it looks like Jorge Prado did get the better of his Italian teammates as Jeffrey Hurlings gets across the line to start us up for the final 2 laps. So 1.7 seconds is the gap to Michele Cavellin, and a little bit more to Tony Cairoli for 4th position. I'm not too fussed if we don't manage to get it, but I would really like to push. I am really doing my best here to get back at these couple of riders, because it's just, after the disaster of the first race, this next position would just mean so much better. Top 5 obviously sounds better than the top 6, so let's keep on pushing and see what we can produce. The gap is more or less the same. Nothing seems to have gone to the way of Cavellin or for Grant at the time being, as we continue to battle it out with this difficult track. But we did lose a bit of time there, and I've lost a bit more time going wide on the exit and too gingerly around that exit as well. So things aren't looking too positive for us now, but a 6th place finish would still be okay. So we must stay within ourselves, not do too much and not do too less here in the Grand Prix of Indonesia. So on the right hand side, looks like we are getting closed down quite rapidly now. Maybe the rain hasn't helped us at all. I thought it would, I really did, but it seems to be a bit of a deterrent for us as oh my goodness, another moment there as we get a little bit out of shape on the brakes and the landing didn't seem to stick, but we are okay for the time being. 9/10 of a second is the gap to Brian Boges behind. The KTM is certainly on a charge as Jeffrey Hurling sets us up for the final lap. This is going to be a perfect victory for Jeffrey Hurlings, and he's going to take out a lot of points away from us, which is quite concerning if you're on the team DrAce fan, of course. If you're an Ace, you're going to be a bit concerned. If you're a Dutchman and you're a fan of Jeffrey Hurlings, you're going to be loving this one, because this is 50 points. But oh my lord, Brian Boges up on the inside there with reckless abandon. Flew past and almost went into round 17. He was that bloody quick, goodness me. It flew straight across the page there and straight across into the YouTube comments to say, goodness me. But for the time being, Brian Boges launched up on the inside has given us absolutely no chance of hanging on to 6th place if he tries that again. There's no way I can defend against that. He was like a rocket flying on through, and hopefully we can just hang on a little bit longer. Round 15 is coming to a close, and we can only take what we can take from it. And if that's the 6th position, then so be it. Brian Boges, just hold back a little bit longer, please, because I'm doing everything in my powers to hold back against the KTM. The KTM seem to be far better suited to this circuit than the Yamahas, because of course not even a single Yamaha up in the top 5 apart from ourselves in 6th position. So let's just hold on a little bit longer, and I think we're going to get the job done. But this is huge for the championship. Jeffrey Hurling's going to take the perfect Grand Prix weekend as we just decide to ride the railing there of the sign, looking like a skateboard, and never mind the man who's in MXGP right now. But we are going to hold on to 6th position, and I tell you what, that was a well fought and truly hard fought and deserved 6th position. So the end of the second race, Jeffrey Hurlings takes the victory ahead of Clement Desal, and Jorge Prado got the best of Michele Cavellin and Tony Cairoli to take that final position on the rostrum. Not bad for us, who finished in 6th place, much better than the disaster of finishing last in the first race. So now looking at the final Grand Prix results, as mentioned, Jeffrey Hurlings taking the full 50 points were on offer here today. Amazing job for the Dutchman. Clement Desal takes 2nd with 42 points, and Tony Cairoli hangs on for 3rd, just ahead of Michele Cavellin. So now we finish up looking at the championship standings, and look at the difference that has made. 34 points went to Jeffrey Hurlings as he takes his 2nd Grand Prix victory this season in MXGP 2020. The championship is heating up as we now approach the final 5 rounds. So guys and girls, hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to be alerted to every single DrAce upload and live stream. And upon that note guys, I will see you next time for more MXGP, Ride 4 or MotoGP. Thanks for watching guys, and ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.